The story starts in the year 2022, where we see a man named Dan. He is watching a football match on TV at home with his daughter Marie. Suddenly a portal opens on football field, from which a number of soldiers emerge, and they are led by a woman named Lieutenant Hart. She tells everyone that they came from future year 2051 and, in the year 2048, an alien species called the White Spikes has attacked Earth. They were first spotted in northern Russia, and within just 3 years, by 2051, they wiped out all humans worldwide. We need your help. Please join our force so we can fight with the aliens and save humanity. In the next 12 months, all the countries in the world are sending their soldiers to help. Actually, the soldiers who are being sent are sent only for 7 days. After 7 days, they're called back and replaced by other soldiers. But within those 7 days, aliens kill more than 70% of the people there. When trained soldiers started running low, the government began recruiting civilians too. Dan is a teacher, and while he was teaching in class, he gets a message to come to the research center, where he's told that he has been selected for war. So they place a band in his hand and say that they can track and communicate him with through band. If he survives for 7 days, they will bring him back through it. Although he doesn't want to go, but he has no choice. After that, Dan goes to meet his wife Amy and told everything. She got worried and said they should run away from the government, but Dan said they'd already put a tracker on him, so no matter where he runs, the government will find him. They can send me from anywhere, anytime. Amy suggested Dan talk to his dad. Maybe he could remove the tracker because he is an amazing engineer and doesn't trust the government at all. But Dan doesn't like his dad at all because his dad left him and his mom. At his wife's insistence, Dan goes to his dad, where his dad says, "I'll remove this device out of your hands." But before that, a fight breaks out between these two. So Dan angrily leaves without removing the device. When he reaches home, he tells his wife that now I will have to go to war in the future. His wife feels very sad about this. Dan also says goodbye to their daughter and promised her he'd come back alive, then hugged her lovingly. After that, he reaches the research center where new recruits were given training on weapons. Here Dan meets environmental scientist Charlie and ex-Navy SEAL Dorian, who is going 3rd times to future. Later, Lieutenant Hart explains that the White Spikes go to rest for a few days after every 6 days. That's when new soldiers are sent into the future, and the ones already on duty are called back. Then a girl asks, since we have the power to time travel, why not go back to 1948 when aliens came to our world, so that we can kill them even before entering our world? The officer here says that our time machine actually works within 30 years time frame, so we can go back to 2051 or 2022. Besides that, we can't go to any other timeline. That evening, while the new recruits were chatting, an alarm suddenly went off. Dan asked Lieutenant Hart, "What's going on?" She replied seriously, "The aliens have attacked the last scientific research center of 2051, and if they manage to destroy that center, humans will definitely lose this war. So we have to go now." Hearing this, everyone quickly started running towards the portal room. A few minutes later, they reached the portal room, from where they are being sent into the future. Suddenly, there was an error with the coordinates of machine. Because of that, Dan and the others ended up teleporting hundreds of feet above the ground. Because of this, everyone starts falling from sky. A lot of people fell and died. Luckily, Dan and other friends fall in a swimming pool, so they didn't get hurt much. When Dan looked out over city, which was now completely destroyed, then the chief commander of army contacted the survivors soon and told them that they're going to bomb the whole city because there were too many white spikes. With this, Dan is made the leader of everyone and given a mission to go to a nearby lab to rescue the trapped scientists and bring them back. And when Dan gets there, he sees that everyone has been killed. He tells this to the commander. Commander told them there is an important hard drive and biosamples, you have to bring them. They breaks into the lab. Dan and his team manage to get the hard drive, but then many white spikes attack them. There are a ton of aliens, so they order to blow up the city with bombs, and the place is bombed, killing a lot of aliens. Here Dan was trying to handle one of them alone, but eventually Dorian came to help. Dorian had fought these aliens before and tells that shooting them only works if you hit their neck or stomach. But sadly, aliens kill many of their own team members. Then some army man comes to rescue them, but while rescuing them, 2 soldiers also get martyred. Dan also goes unconscious, and, when he comes to, he finds himself inside a tent where his teammate is lying right next to him. Both of them step outside. They found out that only the 3 of them were left. Here Dan asks Dorian, "Why did come out here 3 times? Aren't you scared of dying?" He replies that he has cancer and says, "It's better to die in war than in this hospital." Anyway, soon Dan was called to meet the chief commander. Here Dan learns that the commander is his daughter Marie. Marie has grown up now and become colonel. Seeing her makes Dan really happy and proud. Dan wants to hug his daughter, but she refuses and says, "Here we are just soldiers." After that, they both went into a military tent, where Marie explained that they had developed a poisonous injection, but it only worked on male white spikes. Now she wanted Dan to help catch a female alien so they could create a poison that could kill both males and females. So they all fly toward the white spikes nest in a helicopter to catch female alien. Marie said that these aliens suddenly showed up one day on Earth, but no one found any sign of their arrival. After some time, they reaches a nest where several soldiers were trying to trap a female white spike in a cage. Colonel tells Dan to stay in the helicopter, and herself got down and tried to lock the female in a cage, but female spike was so strong. Suddenly many male aliens came to save the female. Dan, who was in the helicopter, noticed male white spikes moving toward the nest. So he quickly get down to save his daughter. But till then they've locked that female alien inside the cage, and take cage out of here by helicopter. Meanwhile the aliens attack the other helicopter, causing them all to be destroyed. Dan and Marie keeps firing at the aliens by machine gun. That's how the 2 of them managed to get out of there by military vehicle and reaches a beach where there were no aliens. Marie was upset and angry because Dan hadn't cared about his own life at all during the fight. Marie tells Dan, "I told you to stay in the helicopter. Why did you come down?" Don says, "I can't see my daughter in danger because I love you." Angry, she started telling him everything that had happened to their family over the years. "When I was little, you left us and then you died, and sent it to the future." After hearing this, Dan can't believe that he's become like his father, and that's why Marie doesn't love him. But here they did not have time to talk about these things, so he left for the lab, where the female alien is held captive by the soldiers. The colonel takes her blood samples so she can create a poison that could kill every alien, but they doesn't have enough resources. They needs many more samples, which means a lot more stuff is required. Dan asked Marie how they would kill so many aliens even if they managed to make the poison. To this, Marie explained that you have to go back in time and produce a huge amount of these poison so that they can eliminate the aliens before the war even started. Just as the 2 of them were discussing this, the computer signaled 100% bond, meaning the female poison is ready. But unfortunately, right then, the female white spike woke up. She starts giving signals to all her aliens, due to which all of them start coming towards this lab. They attack all of them. Because of this attack, the whole lab gets completely messed up and the colonel also gets injured. She told Dan to grab the poison and run to pool room. Dan is deeply troubled by his daughter's condition. That's why he says that "I will not leave you," but Marie says that you have to go from here with poison. She also apologizes to her father, saying, "I also love you, I was just angry with you." But right then, another monster appeared in front of them, and grabs Marie and pulls him down with it. Dan tries to save his daughter and goes down after them, but ended up teleporting back halfway. When he came to, he was in 2022, still holding the bottle of poison in his hand. He feels really sad, because he couldn't save his daughter. Just then Dan told Lieutenant Hart that they needed to create as much of this poison and send it to the future as soon as possible. But she tells him that he can't go back because the time portal is completely destroyed from other side. Hearing this, he feels very sad. After that, Dan returns to his home, where he hugs his daughter tightly and loves her deeply, who is still very young at this time. At night, he tells his wife that in the future he met his daughter, who had grown up and was a scientist, and she created this poison. He tells Amy that no one knows when or where these aliens came from. Amy says these aliens might have come from many years ago. We are just looking in the wrong direction. Hearing this, Dan goes to meet his friend Dorian, who has an alien's claw around his neck. He takes it to Charlie, where he discovers that the claw is coated with ancient volcanic ash. Dan has a student who knows a lot about volcano ash, so they goes to see him, and the student explains that in 1946, a huge volcanic eruption occurred at one place on Earth, which spread everywhere, even to northern Russia. So alien ship was buried under the ice, and when the ice melted over the years, those aliens came out. They realized that kid theory makes perfect sense. Dan told this theory to government and request to send them Russia, so if they kill all those aliens, the whole future will change and there will be no war. But Defense Minister refuses because the relationship between the US and Russia wasn't great, and sending a plane into their territory could just make things worse. With no other options left, Dan went to his father James, who had some unregistered airplanes. He explains everything to his dad and says that if he wants to save his daughter, they need to go there and eliminate all alien. His father loves his granddaughter a lot too, so he agrees to go with him. They prepare by making some poison and then head out. After hours of flying, they finally reached a place where all electronic devices stopped working. They realize it's an alien ship that's disrupting their devices. Then, using several explosives, they carefully made a hole in the ground and went inside. There, they found a frozen alien spaceship. After cutting through the ice, they entered the spaceship. Meanwhile, Charlie and James stayed outside so that if any alien to run away, they could stop them. After searching around for a bit, they realized this UFO had crashed and the aliens didn't actually intend to come to Earth. After that, they goes into another chamber where the real white spikes were locked up in biopods. Seeing that, they all understood that the white spikes had been bioengineered by some intelligent alien race. After that, they quickly started injecting the poison into the pods. As soon as it was injected, the white spikes writhed in pain. This clearly meant their poison was working perfectly. But just as they screamed, some other aliens who hadn't been injected yet woke up. They broke out of their pods and attacked the team. Dan and his crew immediately started fighting back and killing the aliens, but still, a few managed to escape. And now, Dorian said that he had no choice but to blow up the entire spaceship. To kill every alien, they'd blown up the whole spaceship right away. Only Dan, Charlie, and James managed to escape before the bomb went off. Meanwhile, all the aliens on the ship were dead, except for one female is still alive. It is really important to kill her because she can give birth to more kids. To catch her, Dan's father made a snowman and put a jacket on it to make it look like a person. Just as planned, female alien came close to the snowman. Dan and his father started shooting at her. They wanted to push her into the trench, but she immediately fought back. The female alien injures Dan with a spike, but Dan and his father attack him together. Dan used that same spike to strike back at the alien. With this, Dan injected poison in her leg. But the alien cut her leg from spreading poison. Just then, to save Dan, his father cut his arm and let the alien smell his blood so she would follow him. But Dan doesn't want to see his father die like that. As she moves towards her father to kill him, Dan attacks her, killing her with the poison and pushed him off the mountain. Dan realizes that her dad loves her a lot, and all the anger he felt towards him completely disappears. After that, Dan and his dad come back home and, reunited with his family, and happily lived with his father. Since all the aliens have been killed, the future has completely changed. In the future, his daughter will never be killed by aliens. With that, the story ends here.